Wait for it, Vortex. Wait for it. It's coming. It's coming. Appreciate it when it lasts. Somebody corrected me and told me that they are not what was I calling them? They're cement trucks. You were calling them shut up, Thelonious. Shut up. When will you just accept it? When will you accept it and leave me alone? You just have to protest. For 90 seconds you protest. I wish that everybody would protest for 90 seconds and then just go back home. They just leave their house with a sign and just like walk 30 steps and then go back home. You wish that would happen, right? But no, what was I talking about? Cement trucks. Cement trucks. Yeah, I was calling it something else and I don't even remember what I was calling it. But yeah, this person was like, actually, that's a cement truck. And I was like, thank you so much for telling me something I didn't know, and I will correct myself in the future. See, that's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it. I'm sorry, I keep saying that I hate it when people say folks. Foalks. Foalks. Yay! A little bit, I'm still listening to Surfer Rosa, in case you're wondering. I know that you have to be wondering about my music selection for the day. If I seem like a snob, it's because I am. I've always been a huge fan of music. Like, it's definitely not an understatement to say that music saved my life. Because I didn't believe in Jesus Christ until I turned 33, okay? I didn't get baptized into the church until I turned 36. So, I cannot be held accountable. I'm kidding. You can always be held accountable. Like, my hair. Somebody's gonna bitch about my hair. I need to brush it. I know I need to brush it. So, you're witnessing something rare. You know, when I started working in Steak and Shake a long time ago, I didn't brush my hair, and it started to mat. You know, like a cat, how their fur becomes matted? That's what I look like. And it was like dreading itself, and I eventually had to cut it off because I couldn't brush it. That's what happens with wavy hair. Don't even think you're gonna speed up in front of me. Fuck you. Fuck you. Don't even think about it. Very territorial. When it comes to my lane, very, very territorial. This is my lane. Damn it, it's mine.
Dude, if I ever join a band, that's what I'm gonna do half the time. Well, maybe it's not a cement truck. Maybe it's a mixer. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we're still on that. You know, the reason I like to leave my hair unbrushed is because it just has that real, like, crazy look. And in case you haven't noticed, like, we're fine with society not wanting anything to do with us because we're too crazy. What's interesting is that, like, I remember a few years ago, after Kanye West had some meltdown, they called it a meltdown because he was crying. And anytime that people cry, they're just like, this person's melting down! Maybe they're emotional because they're talking about something that's bad, and they're crying about it because it's worth crying about. And he was specifically talking about how, and this was when he was still with Kim Kardashian, he was specifically talking about how he had tried to convince her to abort their daughter. And so, yeah, I can understand being emotional about that. The fact that the rest of society doesn't, like, even if you're a man, and I know it's like poo-poo if a man cries, especially in public, I understand why, but it's always grounds for being committed. It's always grounds for being told that you need to be on some kind of medication because you're making other people uncomfortable. That's what that really boils down to. You're making me uncomfortable, so take pills to zombify your ass. Anyway, after this meltdown, Tucker Carlson, yes, this was a low point, so we were watching mainstream media. But Tucker was like, you know, maybe crazy is right. Because a lot of people are saying that he's crazy, but he's emotional about something that warrants emotion. And yeah, like, I mean, I'm about to cry right now. Like, just thinking about that, thinking about the fact that people just destroy human life like it ain't shit, you know? So, I do that all the time, by the way. Like, I'll just start crying and just stop. Because, what the fuck was that? Oh, that was my little hair clip. I thought that something might have, like, flown into the car, but then I remembered that I have this thing called a windshield. But, yeah, man. It's fucked up that we think that crying is bad. Like I keep saying, as long as you're not making it somebody else's problem, it's not a problem. As long as you're not playing the victim about it and whining and acting like there's something horribly wrong with you. I mean, I keep seeing videos about, like, autism and, like, ADHD and, like, how, oh, well, it's the world that's distorted. It's the world that's fucked up. I was just talking to this friend of mine who's borderline personality, and she basically said the same thing. And you know what she told me? She's like, you know, I think that drugs and alcohol bring out who we really are. And, I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I think in certain ways, and it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. But I don't expect conventional people that always follow the laws and do what they're told to understand counterculture drug use, okay? But if you do something to yourself that helps you understand your condition, if you do something to yourself that enables you to move up into like a better state of consciousness, then it's not wrong. So I just find it interesting that, like, you know, when I was young, I remember thinking, like, what if, like, whatever's going on with me is right? And then around this time was like when I was forming these same conclusions about the world around me and about the media and about presidents and politicians and people on TV and doctors and nurses and teachers and educators, whatever. Like, I don't trust those motherfuckers. And anytime that I've gone against my conscience, anytime I've done that, I regret it. Because I knew that I was right. But so they've replaced your individual conscience with a societal conscience. That's why you have all these nincompoops voluntarily getting injected with mercury. Okay? Because they think that society is better if they comply. And I see all these articles, even from people that have been injured, even from people that have been maimed by this thing. They're still defending it. They're still saying, oh, but I did the right thing, and I rolled my sleeve up because I love society. Why? Why do you love society? Fuck you. You're part of the problem. Sorry. That was a bit much. But seriously though, stop defending bad decisions that you've made all because you want to look politically correct, you fucking loser. Pick a side! You can't have it both ways. You just can't. I'm sorry. You cannot have it both ways. You have to pick one. Now, I'm in a very interesting position because I work in the restaurant industry and I do stand-up comedy. So I'm around all kinds of people all the time that live a completely different life than I do, make way different medical decisions than I make. People probably be surprised how many of my friends are on anti-depressant, considering my views on psychiatry. Now, I don't judge them for that. I judge society as a whole for choosing psychiatry. But the reason why society chooses cockamamie head doctors that kill the public off by convincing them that they're not going to be accepted in society unless they're willing to do this to themselves. It's like they just want to go along to get along, okay? They want to fit in. They want to sort of like slow down or suppress whatever they're experiencing that's uncomfortable. What I'm telling you is stop being such a fucking sissy pants and face that shit, okay? It's not going to go away. It's going to get worse because you're suppressing it. That's why people lose their fucking minds and kill themselves or kill somebody else. They're suppressing things that shouldn't be suppressed. An antidepressant is a pro-suppressant. Okay? That's what it's doing. It's not making you less depressed. So, I mean, it would depress me more, and I know that it did when I was on Lexapro and Celexa and, what was the other one? Zoloft. Like, I remember being on that shit and just being so angry all the time. Because, contrary to what you might think about this, I mean, I'm a very emotional person that allows myself an all-access pass to that. Okay? Most people don't allow themselves to feel stuff because it hurts too much, or it makes them have to think about themselves more. They have to reevaluate their life decisions. If this seems self-absorbed to you, that's because you're not a self-reflective person, okay? Emotional intelligence is the most valuable thing in the world, because emotional intelligence will enable you to be empathic in such a way that you can really help society. But you have to have these negative emotions. You have to allow yourself to be angry. You have to allow yourself to hate the world that you live in. And I think that that's really, really hard for people. So it's not just about, like, fitting in with society. It's like, I mean, look, anytime I leave the house, I got a bad taste in my mouth. Okay? Anytime I look around me, I want to puke. And I don't think that's a personal problem anymore. I really don't. Because I read the scripture all the time. And I think that I'm really grateful for things that I have. But that doesn't mean that I can't bitch about the things that are wrong with this world. And people that have a problem with that are fucking losers. So, I know, I sound so arrogant, don't I? You're just a loser. If you don't agree with me, you're a loser.